Okay, I mean this to be an update on the ISTA-BREEZE i1500, and I'm sorry if there's a bunch of wind noise. I'm going to try and mitigate that as much as possible. But we just got, me and my neighbor. I had to have my neighbor come and drill some holes in the ground for me. This stuff is awful. I should have filmed that process, getting these holes punched down. What we've got are 2 3/8 inch. It's the same stuff that the tower's made out of. 2 3/8 inch pipe sunk. We managed to get it down 52 inches. There's 3 bags of concrete, 240 pounds of concrete at all 4 corners. The auger walked a little bit, so we ended up that far off between those two. Oh well, I am probably going to come back and I'll pour a little pad and put a little post down here just to support that corner, just so that this pipe all by itself isn't holding all the weight. Now, I can't remember how long this tower's been out, or the turbine's been out in the weather. Whenever I took it down, it was still performing awesome. I actually took it down because some wind managed to knock my original tower setup over quite a bit. But on that day, the day that it hit all that wind, it was cranking out 2,000 watts, over 2,000 watts. So this thing definitely does exactly what the manufacturer says it'll put out. I am happy with it. I did have a little incident whenever I was pulling it down. I didn't have all 3 phases knocked out or locked together. It wasn't braked. Some wind got it, and it spooled up and then knocked itself off of my little stand, and one of the blades broke. So I've had to trim about 6 inches off of each blade. And then I re-weighed them, got it as close to balance as I could. But you can see, maybe you can see, that blade is nice and straight. That's the blade that took the hit. It's got some curve to it now. I believe that this one also took a little bit of a hit, and it's got just a little bit of a curve to it. But this one here is the one that took most of the damage. It broke the tip off. So I've trimmed them down. I've got them all to where they're weighed the same. Now, things that I had issues with, and I think I probably mentioned some of this in the last video. The bolts where this thing locks down, they strip out too easily, or I don't know if they stripped out. They felt loose or soft whenever I first set it up. Whenever I tightened them up this time, I was able to put quite a bit of force on them, and it held tight. But I don't like that that's aluminum. I don't like this in general. I'm certain that this collar, or the stud, is a standard size for pipe that you can get everywhere else. I had a hard time finding that exact size here. What I ended up doing was, this is just black pipe, plumbing pipe. I welded into my tower, and I don't know if you'll be able to see it. I slotted it on either side, and I put these exhaust clamps on it just to hold it snug. What I would really have liked to have seen is a flange that I could bolt down, just like the Healy. I would have paid a little bit more for that. See if you guys can see my neighbors. That's one of the gunships too. Anyway, they like flying over my house all the time. Back to it. Now, like I said, this thing was working awesome. It did exactly what the manufacturer said it was going to do. The only thing I didn't like, you know, that I don't like the way that mount works, but I found ways to work with it myself. I think it's been through some hailstorms now, and you can see the finish is just chipping off the fins, but this is aluminum, so it can chip all the finish off at once too. It's not really gonna see a lot of a problem. Now, it's also knocking stuff off of the hub. The hub is really thick, heavy steel though, so even if that gets rust on it, that's not going to deteriorate. I'm not worried about it coming apart. All the hardware is stainless steel, so none of that's going to rust. There's quite a bit of grease around the bearing where the bearing's drying out. This is set up in a way to where I can't really easily get to that bearing to where I can lubricate it, but it's not making noise. It still turns smoothly, and it's not a lot of grease, so I'm not too worried about that at present. There's another spot where we're seeing some rust, just where that little clamp is. And I think that that's about it. Now, one of the things that I was concerned about is, because this is just made out of PVC, I expected the first time we had inch and a quarter hailstones that would just be smashed, especially since it's out in the weather, it's in direct sunlight all the time. And the only thing that I have noticed is it is faded a little bit. It's turning, you know, it used to be white, now it's kind of an off color, you know, cream color. Same thing with the nose cone. Entirely cosmetic. It's not a problem. It's just an observation. So that's that after several months of use, and actually a few months of use and then a month of being on the ground. This afternoon we're gonna set our tower up. I've got this thing ready to pull up, so I am hoping that I will have that video, if not tonight, tomorrow morning. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a wonderful day.